Welcome. Before we create our first custom GPT, there are a few factors we need to consider. The first one is that in order to do this, you need access to the paid version of ChatGPT. ChatGPT Plus is $20 a month. Secondly, we need an awareness of how the memory works in ChatGPT. So it only has the ability to remember facts about you if you have the memory function turned on, or information you've put in the custom instructions section to tell it what you wanted to know. And that might not always be relevant for every application you want to use the tool for, which is where custom GPTs come in. More broadly, though, it doesn't have a permanent memory, and each separate chat exists independently. So once a conversation ends, the tool doesn't retain information from that. And when you start a new conversation, memory of previous conversations wouldn't be carried over. There's also something referred to as the context window, and that's the amount of information that they use the terminology of tokens that ChatGPT can consider at once whilst responding. Tokens are pieces of words, so a single word might be split into one or more tokens. For example, the word apple equals one token, whereas the phrase ChatGPT is really amazing is 6 tokens. So ChatGPT 4 can handle a context window of approximately 32,000 tokens in most versions, which means it can consider about 24,000 words, depending on their complexity, in one conversation. So as the conversation grows, older parts of the chat might be forgotten as the newer inputs that you're inputting and it's generating pushes that older content out of that context window. It doesn't mean the information's erased, but it can be no longer referenced within that current conversation. So that window limits how much information ChatGPT can actively remember in an ongoing dialogue. But within that limit, it keeps track of earlier parts of the conversation to generate coherent and relevant responses. The third thing that we need to consider when creating custom GPTs is to have documents to hand, reference documents that are going to be useful for you to use time and time again. I hope that helps, and in the next section, we'll talk about creating our first GPT.